Thought Life. A new day is dawning. No longer do we have to settle for less. When we demand more of ourselves and think with an elevated purpose, we'll embrace the positives, reject the negatives, so we can live a much more purpose-driven, meaningful life. Thought Life. Now's the time, let's elevate our minds. Make wise decisions that are right. 'Cause responsible thinking will lead us from darkness and into the light.
I think we just widen it out. Oh. Can you widen the angle? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, you're right. I know you're professional. My bad. Let me know. Yeah, I know. Other music. Welcome to another episode, exciting episode of Thought Life Radio, right here at Rainier Avenue Radio. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. It's a great way to enlighten yourself, and the whole purpose of Thought Life is for us to be the best version of ourselves, thinking in a more elevated, more self-aware, and intentional way. Tonight, we're going to be talking about self-awareness, the lack of and the power of when we develop self-awareness, and how that can empower us and help us to cope with everyday situations and not lose our damn mind. That's interesting, isn't it? This episode, I have a guest, Larry, from. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so Larry Mabry from, you guys may know me from Men's Mental Health Show, approximately 3 or right after this show here. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about self-awareness.
Right on. So y'all can tune into that too after this show and get a double dosage. You know what I mean? Which is always good, man. So I wanted to start out by saying that I haven't always been self-aware, and a lot of things on the road to being a better person was I traveled a long road of undisciplined, toxic, unmanageable, immature. I mean, I can list on, the list goes on and on because my lack of awareness that there's a solution for my craziness or whatever I'm going through. You know what I mean? So like, I never really thought of like how important being a good thinker is, and to be more elevated in self-awareness and recognize that self-awareness is kind of like, I'm just going to give a small example. It's kind of like you got bad breath and you're talking to somebody and you're in their face, right? It would make sense for you to check your breath if you were going to be talking real close face to face, right? And the last person to find out they got bad breath is you. And so that's the same way it is with bad attitudes and how we can come off, and our energy can be offensive to other people because we're not really being the best version of ourselves, and we're not aware of how we're coming off to the people that we interact with in life. And sometimes we can go a lifetime of being offensive people and not really seeing a problem with it, right? Because we're not on the receiving end of it. You know what I mean? Yeah, Thought sure. Life is an opportunity for us to be so self-aware that I want to be the type of person that people want to be around. I want to be able to create the energy that is really, really, not so self-centered, but community-centered, that I want to have a great experience with everyone I meet, and I want to be able to be the best version of myself. I want to be showing up as a reflection of everything that I'm going through in life, right? Because all of us have our certain level of tolerance and breaking points and that can affect our personality and how we show up anyway. But Thought Life is an opportunity to recognize life is going to show up in a certain unexpected type of way, and how you can show up better in those moments by having self-awareness and not being so reactionary to things and just label them, hey, it's my turn. You know what I mean? Everybody gets a turn when things just don't go their way. I don't look at life as everything's supposed to go my way, and everybody's supposed to like me and treat me a certain type of way, right? Because that's unrealistic expectation. Thought Life gives us an opportunity to pause and to be able to respond through any situation, no matter how bad it might be, no matter what's going on, because I found out in my own life and my own research that I'm more well equipped to deal with things when my mind is in a steady flow of unemotional and intentional situations, no matter how they go, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. I can show up as an effective way and be more self-aware. So you want to share with us a little bit of something about, like, because the field that you're in, I'm sure that way before you even embarked on the mental health thing, that like you've had some examples of when you weren't at your best, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would say that's probably kind of what led me to where I'm at now. But areas in which I was not self-aware, I would say I was more back in the day caring more about what people thought more so than what I thought. And I almost feel like when you're coming from a family, like you're trying to figure yourself out, right? So you don't really know initially. I mean, you have your personality, but at the end of the day, like you have your parents, they're kind of grooming you. You have loved ones, and you want to please them, right? And so you grow up, you kind of have these choices, but then at some point, you know, you have to kind of peel the layer and become your own man, right? And through those challenges, you know, I realized at the end of the day, I'm responsible for me. And so what does that look like? And so part of that was kind of stripping away that part of myself that I felt that was inauthentic. And it changes all the time, right? As we mature, as we grow, you know, there's different aspects of ourselves, and we're like, okay, this feels good, this doesn't feel good. Sometimes you go through certain pain points,
Right.
Life challenges, character building type experiences that kind of force you to say, hey, you either, you know, pee or get off the pot, so to speak, right? And so I think for me, I've kind of decided to kind of take the road of, hey, I'm going to be, like you said, the best version of myself. And part of that is being authentic with myself, right? And it changes. And I feel like for me, transitioning from a person that was like not self-aware, big things I would notice is when I wasn't aware, I really was all about what was going on outside of me. Right. I would say I was partying, you know, I was out there, I was doing different things, trying to get that excitement. But then I realized at some point in time, I was like a hamster on the wheel. I'm constantly chasing these things. That I had to take a step back and look at my life and say, what have I really accomplished? Right. And so kind of going back to what you said about the emotional part, like I feel like either you're caught up in a relationship that's emotionally taxing or going up and down the emotional roller coaster, so to speak, or depending on the situation in your family, dealing with your own internal emotions, right? And making a choice and saying, hey, what am I going to be in the situation? So fast forward now, I would say becoming more self-aware looks more like being intentional as far as your actions, holding yourself accountable. Sometimes it's a challenge for that. Sometimes you got to take a step back and say, hey, you know, I need to go back to the drawing board, do a little bit more effort with that. Sometimes calling yourself out on things or just having colleagues call you out on things and just going back and saying humbly, okay, I need to work on this, right? And then sometimes you got to reach out for support, right? And just say, hey, I need help in this regard, right? But also, too, I would say a bigger important factor is like a spiritual or some sort of catalyst to kind of help you on that spiritual tip. I think is very important. Because when things get wobbly, you have to have a source to kind of tap into in order to fight through it. But also, and I talk about this on my show, having what I call the Jedi Council, like people like yourself or other people you can connect with in the community, or like a mentor that you have. And that mentor, basically, they have to achieve things that you desire to achieve. Right. So if you notice they're very successful as far as their mental or their self-awareness, and you know, you had that relationship with them, connecting with that person, and say, hey, you know, I like to see what I could do to kind of connect with you and learn in that regard. I think it's important, right? And have fun with it too.
Yeah, man. The one thing I've recognized is that my life has been through a bunch of different chapters, and I know that in my childhood there was a chapter, right? There's a lot of brokenness and a lot of pain.
Yeah.
A lot of because as a child I'm not really conditioned to deal with pain. Like I internalize it.
Okay.
And so that's just my story, is that so many things kept going wrong in this picture, right? About how, and we all come from childhood experiences, trauma, divorce. Maybe your father wasn't in the house. Maybe that affected your attitude, right? Your self-worth. You know what I mean? All of us come from these places, right? And I recognize that so much of my life was like, I never dealt with things in a healthy way. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know how. Nobody taught me like how to deal with things healthily. You know what I mean? I would drink about it. I'd smoke some weed about it. I'd do all these things, right, that seemed like they were comfort, but they were actually creating more of a problem. And I wasn't dealing with the problems. I was medicating my way through the problem, right? And when I came down, the problems were still there. And I'm really not just talking. Not everybody's not a drug addict like I was, but I'm just making it personal that that as long as I'm medicating my way through life, I'm actually not coping. I'm not coping in a healthy way. And what happens for me is I get caught up in that hamster wheel you were talking about. Like, right? Either I ain't nothing, or I think that I'm greater than I am. Right? I'm not right sized. You know what I mean? Because for me, in order to be right sized, I have to actually know what my weaknesses are, and I have to know what my strengths are, and I have to be able to be confident in all those areas, so that like I can actually feel good about life and feel good where I'm at, and have so much more acceptance to life. After having life experiences, you know, I'm 63 years old, so I'm looking at through all those experiences, I was able to actually elevate and learn from those experiences and not be a victim of those experiences.
Yeah, I like what you said about that, not being a victim.
And like it's just the human experience. It's not something for me to feel sorry about. And so that all ties in to your self-image. It's like, you know what I mean? I used to be the quiet guy. Didn't have a voice, you know. Didn't have a voice, couldn't speak up for myself. I was the type of guy who really, you know, was in the shadows. You know, I don't want to be out front, you know, like this. What I'm doing now is like, hey, I got a voice.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm grabbing a hold to life, and I'm not letting life do me. You know what I'm saying? Not based on all the experiences that have broke me in certain areas, but actually they didn't break me. They actually made me a stronger individual. Because it was the big problem that I had is that the way I looked at life, I was a victim of bad perception as well. You know what I mean? Like everything's happening to me, and like look at this life. Isn't there something more? And not realizing that I have to produce more in order to get more, right? I didn't look at it like, hey, it takes more of yourself and more commitment to actually see a better version of yourself over a long, extended period of committed time. It's not something like I wake up, I might look at myself 1 or 2 days in the week, and now I'm this finished product. No, it's endless. And that's why thought life is so important, is because thought life is an opportunity for each individual to challenge themselves daily, thought by thought. That there's a better way for me to think about this situation. I don't actually have to be a victim of this situation. I don't have to be a victim of this chapter in my life that's not going right. I can say, hey, this is just part of life. It's part of life's conditioning.
That's true.
And be okay with it. Not be broken by it.
Right. I have a question for you though. So at what point did you realize that you need to change your thoughts?
Because I couldn't stand being who I was.
So you reached like a level where it's time to do something different.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. I'm a suicide survivor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, after being a drug addict for 40 years of my life, man, I got to the bottom, and after I took my last drug, I had a loaded pistol, and something told me, man, why don't you just end it?
Okay.
Your whole life, and you're nothing. You never will be nothing, and all you're good for is using drugs.
Got it.
So my self-talk was a reflection of how I was living for so very long, and I never stepped outside that. But that day, I had to make a decision.
So it sounds like you fought for yourself.
Oh yeah, man. It's like, even though everything in my body was telling me end it all, right? I didn't want to die. I just felt like I wanted to die.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
So mental health also played a huge part in that, with drug addiction and all the excuses that I had to do what I was doing wrong.
Yeah.
I ran out of excuses. And so I'm saying all that to say that on that same day, I had to confront myself. It's like, is this the best you can do? Look at the people you're hanging around. Look at the activities, the lifestyle that you've been dedicated and loyal to. They're not designed for you to enjoy life.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got to make
so
some
I had to come to an awareness that you know what? Either you change or you die.
Facts.
And so that was the springboard.
So change or die was like the catalyst.
Desperately.
I got you.
Okay. So the more I did it, the more self-awareness, like, hey, I don't have to live like this.
Yeah.
I don't have to hang around these people.
Yeah.
I don't need a drink. I need a life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is the person that I am now.
Gotcha.
Is a reflection of how far down I went.
Right.
To realize to be able to be honest with myself and realize I had a problem that needed to be addressed right now.
Immediately. No,
right.
I
couldn't procrastinate.
Yeah.
I'll do it tomorrow. No, it
you
needs to happen now.
I got you.
So the pain of who I was pushed me to commitment to something better.
Got it. And so in the back of your mind, you probably have that pain to say, no, I don't want to go back down.
Never, ever.
So that kind of motivates you, pushes you to kind of say, you know what, I desire and deserve something better for myself.
Exactly. And it's like, I don't wear a big shirt like saying, ex-addict, you know what I mean? Watch out, you know, put your pipes and your drugs away, right? Right. So I thank God for drugs and alcohol, because it brought me to a place where I had to make a choice and I had to make a decision.
Yeah.
But not everybody in the world has to go through that in order to change.
Right.
You can just get tired of being in life and realizing, like, I'm on this hamster wheel of life, right? Going to work, pay my bills, I'm doing all this stuff, right? But I don't have time for me. When do I make time to make some investments in my quality of life? And it's not a dollar sign. It's an awareness.
Yeah.
Hey, God woke you up this morning. You know, out of the millions of people that didn't wake up this morning, you know what I mean? Just that simple awareness that, hey, there's a power greater than yourself that keeps waking you up in the morning. You know what I mean? Isn't that a beautiful thing? Why don't you start your day with some gratitude, and not what's going wrong, but what's going right?
So what would you say would be the things you're grateful for at this juncture now, as far as your self-awareness?
Man, I got a laundry list of gratitude, man.
Well, yeah, the show's only half hour.
Yeah.
So we'll keep it light.
So the main ones I could say is that I'm in my right mind.
Got it. So you feel like by you putting efforts into your self-awareness, you've kind of put yourself in the right frame of mind.
Right, because just the way I look at it is that when I'm not aware and life is doing me. I have no control over how I show up, but life just controls me.
Got it.
And
so
I'm
do you
controlled
feel like you
by
have more control of life now?
Exactly, man.
So would you say you were a passenger in the past and now you're in the driver's seat?
Exactly, man. Because I get to choose how I respond to life, and I can be intentional.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. I wake up in the morning, I'm gonna have a great day today. Yeah. Why?
So you make
because
that choice.
I choose to.
Yeah, I got you.
I
like that.
Don't wake up with my bad attitude about what's not going right. There's way more things that are going right in every person's life who still wakes up breathing. You have so much that other people are in hospitals wishing they had.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right. Yeah.
So that
You're right.
awareness, there it goes again.
Awareness.
You know what I mean? How blessed you are.
Now, how do you nurture that awareness?
It's a daily thing.
So would you suggest, like, there's certain things you do? You talked about the certain gratitude types of things you share. Is there certain other things that you do to kind of cultivate that self-awareness?
Well, I think what opens the door is that if you do morning affirmations.
So like morning affirmation, okay.
Morning affirmations. I'm well equipped. I'm not a victim of life.
Should you look in the mirror? Should you write it down in a journal?
Oh yeah, you look in the mirror.
Okay. So look
you
at
talk to yourself and you look yourself in the mirror.
Okay.
And it's like, that's why I have the email address, thoughtlife206@gmail.com. I have a bunch of information about how to start your day. I can put you on a little starter kit, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
on your road to self-awareness and to love yourself.
Is that like a 30-day plan? What is that, for example?
Well, pretty much it's a lifetime plan.
Oh, okay.
For people who really want to be the best version of themselves, you can't really take any days off.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You got to constantly.
Right.
It's like taking a shower daily. You got to constantly renew your mind.
It's a renewing of your mind.
Yeah,
right.
That makes sense.
I can't have a new feeling if I'm with the old mind.
Yeah.
The old mind is the reason why I need to change, because I don't love me enough.
That's true.
I don't see life as this great place, right?
Yeah.
I just look at there's one thing I can say for sure is that there was a point in time in my life when I continuously looked at what was wrong with everything. You know what I'm saying? I just had that weird, it was a weird thing where I just, man, that ain't going right. That ain't going right. Man, life ain't going right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? My attitude reflected it.
Yeah.
Like a trapped tiger.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Everybody's enjoying life outside the cage, but I can't come out.
You can't. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's kind of like self-awareness is just like the developing of self-awareness is like you get to live a fuller and be a more fuller, more whole individual.
Yeah.
Spiritually.
Yeah, that's true.
Physically, mentally.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that's just one thing I recognize is that, like, I could ask you, like, when did the light come on for you that you needed to do some self-care?
Oh, well, I think it's a constant thing depending on where you are. But I would say recently, with taking care of my dad. So I've been kind of taking care of my dad, and I moved. And with taking care of him, you say you're 63, I'm 53, and my dad is like 75. And so he's had some ailments. And so with me taking care of him, it was like a rude awakening of like, okay, 20 years from now, this will be you if you don't take some proactive approaches towards your health.
Mm-hmm.
And so for that, it was like a wake up call for me. And I don't have any children. And so I thought to myself, wow, okay, if I'm at that age,
me either.
I'm pretty much out, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it just had me, and I've worked with a lot of individuals and helped a lot of families and organizations, but I'm like, at the end of the day, who has me? And so it helped me take like a snapshot approach and realize that it's just me.
Right.
And so let me be more intentional about taking care of myself. And so I had to kind of stop and kind of turn around a little bit and be more intentional as far as what I'm doing with my self-awareness. Recently I've started eating more organic foods. I'm not a vegan. I eat all food, but just being more mindful of what I'm doing for myself for self-care.
Yeah.
Because I think I was eating out a lot with my lifestyle. Yeah. And I realized that it wasn't helping me. And and then I had a conversation with one of my clients or whatever, and we talked about self-care, and I had to look at myself and say, wow, wait a minute. What am I doing to myself to show self-care?
Right.
And I just had to take a step back. Like, wow.
The evidence.
Yeah. And I said, wait, I could do that. When I went to the doctor and they said, oh, we're noticing this situation. You want to be mindful, pre-diabetic, that type of thing. And I said, I could change that up. You know what I'm saying? And it's just taking proactive approaches intentionally to show yourself love. Right. And I remember I was talking to, I think it was a client, or maybe I was listening to some lyrics of a song because I really like music. And in the song, the woman was talking about self-care, and she was explaining things that she was doing for herself, and it just really touched my heart. And I'm like, man, what are some things I'm doing to show myself love?
Right. Like a mirror made you look at yourself.
Yeah. And I had to take a step back and really, you know, do some inner work. And I wanted to kind of bring that up because I think sometimes like we have blind spots.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You said it earlier, like we're kind of going in a loop. And when you're in the loop, you don't realize you're in a loop until someone outside the loop can say, hey, you're in a loop. Right. Or a situation will knock you out the loop. And I think sometimes we're so accustomed to that loop because we don't know another way to be.
Right.
And so kind of like you, I had close calls where it was like, bro, you either need to change or die.
Yeah.
And that's a rude awakening.
Yeah.
Is it easy? No, like I'm sure it wasn't for you, but I feel like sometimes, like you mentioned, as far as the drugs, sometimes God puts us in a situation where it's like the only way we're going to pay attention is if we're put with our head in the mud.
Exactly. Well,
and so
1 foot in the grave.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah. And so I've had a couple challenges like that, and it was like, yo, what are you going to be? Are you going to be a wimp, or are you going to man up and handle your business? And so I just decided to say, okay, I got to stand up, which means you got to do things differently.
Right.
And so for that, like you said, I'm grateful because I have another shot of life.
Right.
Am I perfect? No, but I try to do the best I can. But I realize there's still things I'm working through. Right?
You're not perfect?
Nah.
Come on,
not
man.
At all.
I am.
Nah, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect at all.
No, but one thing I wanted to bring up also is that have you ever really leaned on other people for validation and felt disappointed when you had this unrealistic expectation? Because I know I have.
Yeah.
Like I've always leaned on other people, right, to be my cheerleader, to be my healer, to be my this, to be my that, right? Yeah. And just the last 10 years of my life, I stopped looking outside myself for people to validate me and to be self-aware enough to realize, hey, you can develop your own, you be your own best cheerleader. Yeah. You know how to heal, you know how to pray, you know how to get quiet, you know how to meditate when things get tough, and you can do some internal self-contained healing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, like, have you experienced anything like that?
Yeah, I would say I've definitely experienced that. And I think that was like one of the catalysts to realize that, if you don't show love to yourself, then how can you receive the love from other people? And so for me, I think it was the biggest thing to say, you know what, I need to stop and really take a look at myself. And realize that, okay, if I'm not the best version of myself, how can I expect to attract a version that I want to support me, right?
Yeah.
But like you said, like I had to take another look at it, flip it a little bit, and be real with myself. Because I think sometimes we live in fantasies, or things that we grew up in that we don't realize is a fantasy, right? And so once we have those rude awakenings, those wake-up calls, then we can, definitely do something different and switch it up.
What I want to say is I want to say thank everybody for tuning in. And one final thing I wanted to say is that I want to thank my brother here for showing up. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate you.
Right on, man. So I always wanted to do this with him, so he came a little early. So one thing I want to tell you is that Thought Life is for you, all of you in the community. Because if we're all more self-aware, we'll realize that we need each other. And what I realized too is that every day I got to trudge this path alone. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't have a whole bunch of people around me who think like me to keep my iron sharpens iron. So if I don't have anybody around me, right, who's self-aware, I can really be thirsty for some fellowship of somebody thinking on a higher plane. You know what I mean? And it's not about dollars and cents. It's more about peace of mind and stability of mind and being effective in life. Thought Life is designed for every single person to grow up, take full responsibility of your life, and take on the responsibilities of self-care, self-awareness, and to empower yourself in a way that you may never have before. You can hit me up on thoughtlife206@gmail.com. I'll get back with you within 2 or 3 maybe 24, 48 hours. But I really would like for you guys to just reach out. Why not? Check it out. Thought Life is for you, all of us. It's better to be more self-aware and to love ourselves enough to make the changes that we need to make in our thinking so we can be confident and enjoy life. So thank God for Rainier Avenue Radio. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. First and third Monday. I'm Bradley Fishookz Caldwell. Check y'all out. God bless y'all. Thank you for tuning in.
Later.
Yeah.